All right, welcome back to the Magic Box Talk Show. Now, the Magic Box Talk Show poses a lot of questions, but one of our favorite questions to pose happens to be, does anybody in the room know what question I'm referring to? Does anybody know what this is? Anyone?
I think I know.
Oh, Denica knows. Denica knows. Let's find out.
I think you want to know what is in the box.
What's in the box? Oh, well, we have a lot of delectable items today in the box, and we're going to have a little literary rundown really quick. So here's a recommended reading by Carrie Fisher, popularly known as Princess Leia, which is probably the most well-known acting job she's done, but she was also the therapist in Austin Powers, which is really hilarious. And so this book is what's the rehab? It's a rehab and relationship comedy is how I would refer to this. So that's some recommended reading. If you want to get a little bit deeper than that, we have Context by Cory Doctorow. And hey, Cory, if you're watching this, please come on the Magic Box Talk Show. We'd like to interview you. Thank you very much. Cory Doctorow does the Boing Boing zine, and he's a good spokesperson for what you might call the Pirate Party critique of copyrights in a digital era where it's incredibly easy technologically to make copies of different kinds of content. And so he's an advocate for copyright reform and intellectual property law reform. And also, if anybody from the Pirate Party happens to be watching the Magic Box Talk Show, please come on the show. We'd like to have you on the show as well, and you'll be getting direct messages from me on Twitter very soon, so to ask you to come on the show. We've also got, hey, look, this is a very funny book. This is Class: The Guide to the American Status System. I mean, it's a very sort of wry, satirical, kind of Andy Rooney sort of style. He gets into a lot of how class as a social phenomenon is related to commodities, and people use the stuff that they buy and the objects that they own, the cars that they drive, the way that they dress, the way that they decorate their house to communicate with other people what their class status is, and which creates a lot of anxiety here in the United States, the clash of the different classes. Secrets and Lies by Bruce Schneier. Here's a guide to security in the internet era, that if you use the internet, you should probably know about the stuff that's written in this book. And it's also kind of it feels like reading sort of a real-life James Bond sort of thing, so it has that sort of excitement. And let's see, The Ugly Laws is another recommended book. This is about discrimination against poor people and disabled people, and I think should be read in the context of some of the legislation that affects the behavior of people in downtown Santa Cruz. I think there's things in this book that give the modern legislation an interesting historical context. So that's it for now. We've got Arlen Grossman here on the show, and Arlen, yay! Arlen at the BigPictureReport.com.
You got it.
You can read Arlen's thoughts, musings on the world, and
I do a quotation quiz for the Monterey Herald.
That's the quotation
every
quote.
Sunday, and on KRXA Radio on Wednesday mornings.
So how does that quotation quiz work? Can you give us an example?
Yeah, well, in the one I do for the newspaper, it's 10 quotes, and for each one you have to guess which of the 3 people I put down there are the ones that actually said it. So it's just a fun kind of thing, and I have all
Do you remember any off the top of your head you could quiz us with?
Oh, no, I'm not very good
okay, I'm putting you on the spot. That's all right. We'll let it go. We'll let it go.
And then on Wednesdays on KRXA Radio, 5:40 a.m., there's a chance to win a prize if you can guess who said the quote. And I also give you 3 choices. You could actually win a prize on the radio station.
Hey, audience participation.
There you go.
I very much encourage people to call into radio station, especially if it's something you've never done before. It takes a little bit of kind of working yourself up the courage to do it, but I think once you've actually called into a radio station, you'll find that it's pretty easy to do. If you know how to talk, then you know how to talk on the radio. So that's great stuff. Arlen, you're very active in the community. You were saying that just yesterday, in fact, you went to a demonstration down in Monterey. Now, what was that over?
Okay, there's a hotel in Carmel, a very prominent hotel called the La Playa, that has been around for years and years and years, and they went out of, well, they changed ownerships, and they were kind of inactive for a while, and then it was formerly the workers were all union, and when the new owners hired for this hotel, they didn't hire back the old workers, some who'd been there 20, 30, 40 years. They only hired like 2 out of the 100 union workers that were there before. So people are very upset.
2%, huh?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so, you know, right now there's the labor council there wants to have a boycott of that hotel and let them know, hey, we're serious. We believe that the union workers should be hired back. It's only fair. So they're doing all they can, and they've had regular rallies and protests and marches. And yesterday there was Assemblyman Bill Monning, Monterey County Supervisor Jane Parker, and Seaside's mayor also was there. So, you know, there's a lot of elected officials that came to join and support the union movement. And I think it's a good thing that people are stepping up and trying to support the workers.
Well, I'm glad to see that elected officials are backing the labor movement, especially in the context of what just went on in Wisconsin with the recall election over Scott Walker, where I think we had a deeply problematic dynamic with the Democratic Party not really taking that election very seriously, the national leadership.
Well,
and when the Republicans threw all kinds of funding behind it and made that really an election race that the National Party was focused on.
Yeah, what they like to do is demonize public labor unions and, you know, turn people against each other, and, you know, these wedge issues, and so they're making it so that somehow the teachers, the firefighters, and the policemen are the are the enemy and the ones that are ruining the economy, when of course that's not the case. So
right.
It's a very sad situation, because it is labor unions that really brought up the middle class and made things so much better for Americans, and now that the unions, the membership has gone down, so has worker wages and style, you know, lifestyle. And, you know,
we're talking about the people that literally built America, right?
Yeah.
The unions.
Yeah.
And I was going to say about Scott Walker that we had people like the Walmart heirs funding that election. You just think about what Walmart has done for American labor in and of itself. It's a very, very disgusting situation. I mean, I think if you actually read, I think Nickel and Dimed by Barbara Ehrenreich, then they talk about the Levi Strauss company leaving the United States basically in production because of Walmart. So these issues are all tied together.
Well, and Walmart's been an aggressively anti-union corporation.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the point I was making. That's really sad for women as well, because it's a sexist corporation.
Well, and in fact, you know, I personally have what you want to talk about living in working class hell. I used to work at a McDonald's inside of a Walmart.
Oh God!
And I know, so it's like, you know, multiple layers of it, right? And the Walmart employees, they have to do this thing in the morning where they do like a pep rally, and they all go, "Yay, Walmart!
I'm so thrilled
Yay,
to be working
Walmart!"
for $7 an hour,
right?
You know.
And it also, you know, we went to one of them, and then we all kind of looked at our McDonald's managers, and they sort of looked back at us. We never had to go to another one again because we technically weren't Walmart employees. I think there was an undercurrent to that of the Walmart management kind of looking around going, who's not chanting "Yay Walmart" enthusiastically enough? And sort of with the idea of like, let's root out like the potential labor organizer or workplace agitator.
Or person with a brain, you know, really. I guess they don't really like that. And I shouldn't say that because I know maybe it's the only thing in your city. And I think that book, like I mentioned, that Nickel and Dimed is something that I would definitely recommend for reading in this subject.
Yeah, when you think about it, Walmart pays such little wages, and so the people, you know, have trouble getting by, so they have to buy cheap items. So where they go to Walmart to buy the cheap items. It's just a vicious cycle.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and so we had mentioned Scott Walker and the election that goes on with that, and the money behind Scott Walker, that we're now living in the post-Citizens United era. Citizens United is the Supreme Court decision, and as a result of that, corporations can now funnel pretty much unlimited amounts of money into elections. It's much more difficult to track where the money's coming from because they can set up these front groups to launder the money. So that's a major crisis for our democracy. The government is traditionally supposed to regulate corporations, and there's been basically a corporate takeover of the government. The fox is in the head house, and so I think that the only thing that's really going to turn the tide of this trend is for more and more ordinary Americans to kind of seize their own destiny and get involved in influencing the political system. You guys?
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's going to work, though, Colin, because you mentioned democracy. I don't know if we have democracy anymore.
Right.
If we have a government that's essentially run by money, when they could pour in as much money as they want to influence the election, then it used to be, one man, one vote. Now it's like, it's a vote, $1 one vote. I mean, it's just whoever has the most money is the one that's going to essentially control the government and control the political system. So, I'm not sure if our political system is going to work anymore. Right now, it doesn't look very good because there's just not much influence that the average person could do compared to these giant corporations and people and billionaires who could spend, millions of dollars to buy an election.
Well, it's certainly a grim situation, and I don't think it's going to change overnight. I think that people who are looking to get politically active should really be thinking in terms of the long haul. And so, there is a movement underway to reverse the Citizens United Supreme Court decision. And you can learn more about that at movetoamend.org. What I think is interesting about movetoamend.org is that they've adopted a strategy of really trying to build pressure for change from a grassroots level, because they realize that getting a constitutional amendment past Congress is a major hurdle, and I think that could only really go on in the context of ongoing large-scale mass movements that are putting pressure on the political system to change, so